As you may be aware from my previous videos, I have been on a bit of a crusade against the concept of really stupid video game patents lately. So I went ahead and looked up a lot of video game mechanic patents that have been issued throughout the years. Some of them are active, some of them still aren't. And I am here with my editor, Mammoth, to discuss them. To start with, I'm going to say this. I am not a patent lawyer. I don't understand the greater nuance of patent law. I'm not here to argue whether or not that what they're doing is legal technically. If it's technically transformative enough for it to be legal, there's a percentage change, it has to be different for it to be a legal patent. I'm here to discuss the fact that these mechanics are stupid to be able to patent, and that you should not be able to patent an idea, especially an idea that is just something that kind of exists in the real world. So we're going to be going over the patents, what they vaguely entail, and as far as I can understand of the text of the patent, and whether or not we think it's stupid. There's maybe one or two that I've seen so far that I'm going to be like, okay, I guess you're a dick, but you can patent that. So I'm with Mammoth. Mammoth is my editor. Mammoth, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Mammoth. I'm not from the US, as you can probably tell by my accent. I know nothing about most of these. The only patents I really am aware of is the one that Shadow of War, Shadow Mordor use. Is it the Nemesis system?
The Nemesis system, yeah.
That's one I'm aware of.
We will be discussing that today.
There's, I think, the Nintendo one, and that they try to. That's it. And there's apparently, what, like 17 or more that you said before? So
I got
this is going to be an interesting.
And let's yeah. Let's clarify. Like, I got a lot of them up here. This isn't every video game mechanic patent. This is just the ones that I could, easily find and pull up without too much trouble. I wanted to go through because Nintendo currently has like 23 patents since like the release of Power World, supposedly since the release of Power World, but 23 patents in the recent future that, or in the recent past, that are related to video game mechanics. But 22 of them got denied. So it's and I can't find a list of all 23 of them. I think some of that may come down to just like the way, like right here, this is a Nintendo one, and you'll see there's one US patent in 2024 that, like, the worldwide application's one US patent or two, but there's 4 Japan ones. So I think that might just be a way. Maybe they filed 23 in Japan, but it didn't amount to 23 in the US because they have to file them. I don't know. I'm not a patent lawyer. That's not why we're here.
Probably. Japan has very different patent copyright rules and all that to basically the rest of the world, as far as I'm aware. So the UK and US have different things. That's probably why, but we'll see.
I've gotten those comments. I've gotten a lot of those comments in the last few videos that are basically, well, Japan they can do this in Japan because Japan's like a first come first serve patent. I was like, I'm not arguing whether they can do this. I'm arguing it's bullshit that they can. And even if it got approved legally, whether it's because of some weird way they wrote it, because I think the way they wrote the one for Nintendo's, or the Nintendo mounting system for the smooth transition, I think the fact that they're including, like on this one right here, the first set of images with these patents are all related to the Switch. The word of it is storage medium, storing game program, game system, game apparatus, and game processing method, which you will see with a lot of the Nintendo patents, has some variation of that, does not discuss what the fucking game mechanic is. And I don't know if that's because of the weird way that US patent law works, where it has to be like that, or if that's them just trying to make it more confusing to both the research and for the person, the poor, probably intern that has to read the patent, like, oh, they're just trying to patent things for this. I don't know. That's my conjecture. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just some weird way the patent law works. But I'm not here to argue whether or not they can legally do this. I'm here to argue that it's stupid that they can, because if you don't know, I currently have a change.org petition going on that is regarding, it's titled Stop the Abuse of Misuse of Patents in Video Games. That's basically, and I'm working on the wording of it a bit more, basically trying to get them to get the U.S. Patent Office, the U.S. patent law to change such that you cannot patent a video game mechanic. You can patent specific code, but you can't patent a general idea. Because the big thing with this, the big thing that is wrong with a lot of these video game patents, I think, is the fact that, like, I've seen a lot of comments like, oh, if Microsoft went after them, if Blizzard went after them, if this person went after them, if these big AAA studios went after them, it would never stand up. And they're right. It probably wouldn't. it probably wouldn't stand up if these big AAA studios decided to go after Nintendo or go after whoever is filing these patents and say, no, 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 this is too broad. There's prior art, blah, blah, blah. But the smaller studios like Pocket Pair or the people that don't have the money or any indie dev is screwed. And the big studios probably don't want to because they own a lot of their own patents and they don't want to challenge patent laws. And if they start challenging them, then other people are going to challenge them back. And now they can't patent this stuff and they can't bully indie studios. So it's not just Nintendo. Nintendo's just the one that's in the news a lot lately for it. So it's the one that I'm talking about. And yes, could they be challenged? Sure. Does the average indie studio have the money to go after a AAA studio in court and drag that out for years to determine whether or not, so hopefully make, $1,000 on their indie game? No, probably not. I mean, you work at a law firm, right? Right, Mammoth?
Kind of. I work on more the back end side of it with logistics.
So
I
you're
know bits and
basically a
pieces,
lawyer,
but-
yeah. You're basically a lawyer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
You work IT at a law firm. You are basically a lawyer. Anyways.
Yeah, that works.
Anyways, I also think I'm wondering because I got a lot of comments that were like, well, if you go into this, it says that it was filed before, but there's also a thing called a patent family that I've found out, which is basically you can apply for you can put a patent into a family, and that patent family can be related. And it's basically saying, oh, this patent is also related to this one, so it's in these same grounds. Right here, it's saying this one is filed in application filed 2024. Japan, if you go here, it's filed in 2021, 2022. So what it seems to be is that they're updating it. They're updating it as it goes on, and that's where the application dates are confused. Again, I don't care about that because I don't care whether or not technically, this isn't targeting Pal World. I care about the fact that this is a stupid thing to be able to patent. So this is the one I discussed it in my first video. It's about in the aiming direction, item that affects a field character disposed on a field in the virtual space based on a third operation. In the second mode, the aiming direction is determined based on the second operation input, and the player is caused to launch in the aiming direction a fighting character that fights based on the third operation input. That was targeting. Is it targeting? Even if it wasn't targeting Pal World, when did Craftopia come out again? I know I've looked this up before. 2020. So even if it wasn't targeting Pal World, the earliest iteration of this patent came out was filed for in 2021 or priority to whatever in 2021. Craftopia came out in 2020. Craftopia had the exact same mechanic. This one is basically about being able to, you used to be able to throw the ball and it would put the PAL on the ground. Now, Pal World has since changed it so it appears right next to you. That's what this one is targeting. The next one is, and if you want more detail on that, then I have another video on that, and I'll link that in the description at the end of this video. So there's another one I talked about in the previous video that is the idea of throwing a capture object in a 3D space, and a lot of the comments on that. So that's the concept of this sphere being thrown in a 3D space, and that's one Power World hasn't seemed to back down on yet. That one is also one that people are like, didn't Ghostbusters have that in a game in like 1990s, and didn't this have that in a game? Ark has that with their cryo chamber shit. Like, no, because that was the one Power World filed and they used or Nintendo filed and they used like Legends of Arceus as their backing, but Craftopia came out before Legends of Arceus, and about 1,000 other games that have some sort of capture mechanic where you throw a thing and capture a thing have come out before Legends of Arceus. Minecraft had a mod that allowed you to do that. I think like the Extra Utilities mod or whatever had a Safari net that you launched an object in 3D space, sort of, and captured things. That one's stupid. I just brought those ones up for that. This other one I have right here is the one that I put another video out about. It's about the boarding system where you can get on a mount and, I'm walking, I'm flying, I'm walking, I'm flying, and it's seamless. So they try to patent that idea. That one got approved somehow, despite the fact that, I cited, when I did the video, I said, didn't World of Warcraft have this in, 2006 or 2009 or whenever fucking Burning Crusade came out? And then, I had so many comments like, this game also had that, this game also had that, this game also had that in, 2003, 2004, 2005. The earliest thing that Nintendo cited in their documentation for that was one of the Legends of Zelda games, the one that came out in 2011. So there's a lot of games that came out before their earliest citation of why they should have it somehow got approved. Again, it started with non-transitory computer-readable storage medium having stored therein game program, game system information. But if you go down and read, at the bottom, it says this should apply to any game program, any game application, any this, any that. So they're using confusing wording to hide what it is, I think. And honestly, I think it's for the purpose of creating it. To me, it seems like it's for the purpose of creating nuisance suits, because they're not going to go after Microsoft. Because if they try to if they try to sue Microsoft, Blizzard, Activision, or any of these other big companies, they would get their shit pushed in court. They would get destroyed in court. I think it's so that they can target the smaller studios that don't have the money to fight them in court.
It could be a massive domino effect as well, though. Like, if one fucking company decides to go, oh yeah, we're going to fight this and take it all down,
yeah,
other companies will just do the same thing. So I don't understand why they're doing it, because they don't want people to fight them, because the entire house will come down on top of them.
Yeah, and it might be one of those things. And also, I'm just going to say, I don't know if I've said this already, but I'm pulling a pirate software here. I got a Brit on my team. You know, his lawyer's British. My IT editor guy is British. I think the big difference here is editing isn't country specific. So there's going to be nothing that you say in regards to editing for me that is going to be wrong because we're in different countries. So I'm just going to, just going to talk about that with whatever the fucking copyright shit that pirate software had that drama. Just, shouting that out. But you got to have a Brit on your team. If you don't have at least one Brit on your team, who are you? Yeah, no, 100%. I think there's that risk of a domino effect, but it might be kind of an unspoken thing where they're like, listen, you guys aren't going to come after us because then we're going to come after you because you guys have stupid patents too. Or just, listen, you guys can do this and we're not going to sue you. And we're not going to sue you because we don't want that. We don't want to set a precedent that this isn't okay. And they can bully, Pocket Pair, and I don't think it's working as well as they want it to, but it is working a little bit because Pocket Pair doesn't have the money and they have to crowdsource their funding for any lawsuit. And, is Sony going to back them on this? Who knows? Or was it Sony or Microsoft who's working with Pocket Pair? Someone. Yeah, Microsoft then, because it's Sony with Helldivers. That's right. Sony with Helldivers when that whole controversy stuffed. And as long as Nintendo doesn't try to enforce the patent against one of these AAA studios, the AAA studios aren't going to aren't going to, go after them, because why get embroiled in a lawsuit? The investors don't want that. The board doesn't want that. No one wants that. So it's kind of probably one of those things where it's like they all have an understanding that, listen, we're not going to go after each other. This is for the little guy that doesn't fucking matter, kind of thing. But I'm hoping there's a domino effect because Pocket Pair seems to be standing up to them, and I'm hoping that it starts that domino effect. But Pocket Pair is also based in Japan, so the way the copyright law there is, or the patent law is. But here's the stupid new one I just found today, and it was filed in 2022, August 8th of 2022, granted in January of this year, and will not expire until 2043. Do you want to guess what this one's about? I know you can't really see. It's a fucking trade mechanic. Nintendo has patented the concept of trading. But wait. Before anyone actuallys me. It's not the concept of trading, so to speak. It is the concept of trading an item or a character, so like a PAL or a Pokemon, that then has basically metadata that has metadata from the place it was traded from, the person it was traded from, and displays like a screen that shows where it was traded from. So that holds over metadata. So like if I went into World of Warcraft and I traded you a sword, and that sword became effectively a new item in your inventory, there's no trace that sword came from me. That is not patented. But if I went that sword didn't have any new special values because of my ownership of it or whatever. But if I went and traded you like a PAL, and that PAL had traded from Mammoth, traded from Runga, or traded from this, or had special stats because it was traded from me, or had negative stats because it was traded from me, that is what falls under this patent. Mammoth, have you ever played Ark Survival Evolved? But you played Pokemon, yeah. So that's what this patent seems to be specifically related to. And somewhere in the text of the patent, I can't remember exactly. Hey, what's up, Triana? I can't remember exactly where it says it, but somewhere in the text of this patent, it talks about incentivizing trading, incentivizing people to engage with each other and trade and blah blah blah. Another information apparatus. Hold on, where is it? Transmitting to another information processing operation information about the place in the virtual world designated by the player, and information about the item or character designated by the player, as information about a thing to be exchanged, and receiving from the another information processing apparatus information about the place designated by an exchanging partner, and information about the item or character designated by the exchanging partner as information about a thing to be exchanged. So the fact that there's more data being shared than just
So it's not
X.
just. Yeah, it's not just like, wow, here's a trade, here's an item, good job. Borderlands, here's a new weapon, cool. It's the whole concept of you have a trainer ID associated, you have what, I can't even remember all the other stuff that comes with Pokemon.
The IVs,
LVs,
the specific data that could be influenced by that,
all that kind of shit.
Yeah, and I would almost argue that to an extent. Now, I don't know if this would technically fall under that, but I would almost argue that to an extent, if I'm in WoW and I trade you an item with 83 durability, but it normally has 100 durability, then that's some level of that. I don't know if that's so broad that I don't think it technically falls under this. But in Ark Survival Evolved, you can trade like cryo tubes. You could trade items. You can give each other items, and some of those items, like if you're trading a dinosaur that you captured in a cryo ball, that dinosaur might be imprinted to you. That dinosaur might have specific stats related to you. It might have data about where it came from related to you. A lot of games have that already. But here's the funny thing. Here's what I find really funny about this. So that's like a lot of games already have items in creatures that can be traded, and there's some level of metadata that is being transferred that is specific to that specific instance of the item. What this feels like, and maybe I don't understand the blockchain that well, but what this feels like is trading items or creatures in a video game on the blockchain. It has specific transaction data related to it, specific metadata related to it, rather than it just being remove item 1531 from one player's inventory, put item 1531 in another player's inventory. It's a specific instanced object, character, whatever. It has specific data assigned to it. Trading creatures.
I think that's more of a coincidence than anything else, though, right? Sure, we don't know because Nintendo doesn't seem to have a thing for NFTs, but
yeah, well, that's not quite what I'm getting at. It seems to be. I don't think they're going after NFTs, but they're going after trading creatures in a way, creating creatures and items in a way that is very like NFT-like.
Yeah.
And this was filed in 2022. Do you want to know when Logan Paul started CryptoZoo?
It was around the same time, right?
It was before that.
Yeah.
It was 2021. So, Logan Paul, get on this, man. Nintendo's coming after your blockchain creature idea. Like, this is that very simple kind of idea of the creature that you trade, the item that you trade having metadata associated with it, which is not something that I think should be patentable. And you could say that Pokemon kind of did this first. You can say that Pokemon kind of did this first in a way, because very early in Pokemon on like Game Boy and stuff,
yeah,
you would have to trade, and then like there are certain Pokemon that would only evolve if traded with an item. And I don't remember like because my first Pokemon was Pokemon Crystal, so Gen 2. I don't remember if at that time it would tell you where it was assigned from, but you could also have a berry attached to it or a note attached to it, and I don't know how much data was stored at the time. I'm willing to bet not that much, because storing extra metadata for all the Pokemon you might get through a trade would be so intensive on the limited hard drive space they had. But you can argue that Pokemon had an idea like this, that Nintendo had an idea like this before, but it's still just the concept of trading an item and that item holding on to like metadata from the previous player. Like things that the previous player, like it knows that that previous player owned it. It knows that the previous player did this level of training with it, or this or that, or made some substantial training to the item or the creature, which I think is stupid. I think that's a broad enough concept that it should be not allowed.
at the very least, the original trading had LVIV's trainer ID associated with it all. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
I've just
think
looked it up.
I don't know if did it have LVIVs and then the trainer ID of the previous trainer? Like when you got a new Pokemon.
Original trainer.
Okay. So yeah, at least they could say they did that first. They did that in like 1994. First Pokemon game. I googled this last time. 1996. So that would have been 1996. Which, if they had filed for the patent then, which they should have had to, if they wanted a patent on something like that, then it would have been expired by now. Well expired by now. But you can at least kind of say that this is an idea that they can say they came up with first, which is new for Nintendo apparently. I still think so. So if they want that patent legally, should they get it? Is there prior art that stops them? I don't think so. But maybe not. They didn't patent it at the time that they first did it. It has since been like publicly available. I believe U.S. patent law basically is such that if an item comes to market, then it can't be patented. The idea can't be patented. Like if a new item comes to market. So if anything since then has done that before they patented it, they wouldn't be able to patent it. I'm not sure. Has this one?
Yeah.
Been
So like,
yeah. This one has been
say
approved.
company 1 made a wheel in 1990. Company 2 made a wheel in 1992. Company 2 cannot then patent it and fuck over company 1. Basically.
Yeah. And conversely too, I think it's if company 1 made a wheel in 1990, company 2 made a wheel in 1992. Company 1 can't go say, "Oh, I patented this now," so company 2, you're fucked, because it's already something that's been created. Which is why companies tend to release their or get their patents or apply for their patents before the release of the thing that they're creating, and generally want to get their patent before the release of it. So, should they be allowed to patent this based on did they create this? Maybe, sort of, kind of. It hasn't been way too long for them to do that. Maybe, sort of, kind of. Is it an idea that I think it's too broad in general to be patented? Yes. I think it's also an idea that's too broad or general to be patented. But this is at least one that I can say, I can see them getting it, but I think it's stupid. It doesn't stop a game from being able to be created, really, unless Logan Paul really wanted to push through with his Crypto Zoo, in which case this is kind of would fall in that same thing of a blockchain creature trading. Yeah, this one was granted at the beginning of this. No, wait, hold on. This one was granted. The other one was granted at the beginning of the year. This one was granted at the end of last year, the last day of December. So New Year's Eve, Logan Paul, you should have been filing a lawsuit against Nintendo for stealing your idea. Okay, so this one is the kind of infamous. This one I have mixed feelings about. This one is the infamous Mass Effect dialogue wheel. Mass Effect patented the concept of a dialogue wheel. Effectively, it's more so. Again, I feel like this almost hits more on copyright than patent, because this is basically an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic for how to have a conversation in a video game.
I mean, like, this one, at least as of right now, currently, is the first time I've never played Mass Effect, so I don't know. But this one seems fine, because this is more like, this is a visual identity for those games, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't want someone else to copy it and go, this is Loss Effect, woo, kind of a thing. Like, this one, from just the quick screenshots, looks fine. Because, like, other games have done their own dialogue wheels and different versions, but because it's different, it's fine, at least to my knowledge.
And this one is, but there's the thing too, is the difference between patent, copyright, and trademark. Copyright, I think, would be more handling of this, but then there's like, it's confusing when you get into tech and when you get into all these different things, which one applies to what. I appreciate the fact that with this one, from what it appears to be, it is very specific. Do I think it's kind of a stupid thing to patent a dialogue wheel? Yes. Is this going to stop you? If they had patented the concept of multiple choices of dialogue in a video game, they can burn in hell. But they didn't do that.
We'd have a complete different conversation if that was the case.
No, there would be a fucking riot. That people would be pissed off, and they could go burn in hell for that. Because that, kind of what like my thought is on the concept of patenting game mechanics is if patenting a game mechanic prevents that type of game or that genre of game, or like isolates it so that you cannot create a game that would fit into this genre or this concept because this is core to it, you should not be allowed to do that because you are basically creating a monopoly on an idea. If it's very specific like this is, where it's like, because right here, claim 1 comprising a radial choice indicator, comprising a rectangle choice indicator, because this is all related to claim 1. The selectable slots are arranged in a band, have 6 selectable slots. Selectable slots are visually identified before selection by highlighting. Selectable slots are visually identified before selection by a movable indicator, wherein the program is a video game, wherein each slot provides an option for input into a simulated conversation with characters within the video game, and the input in the simulated conversation is selected from a group of remarks. Basically, these are all the very specific things that would have to happen for it to be claim 1. You get it? So it's like this is very specific. So theoretically, you could have a dialogue wheel, because I think when I discussed this in my video discussing like the change.org petition I started, I mentioned, well, didn't like fucking, because Oblivion had, I think I talked about it before the new Oblivion remastered came out. I think I did that video before the remaster came out, but I knew it was coming out, so I was like, didn't Oblivion have that with their like mercantile system where you could do that? That's kind of a dialogue wheel, blah blah blah. I didn't even actually reference this in the petition, in the change.org petition, because I'm like, no, this is specific. This is really specific. I think it's petty, but I don't think anything's wrong with it.
This one I would say is, as much as I agree in the fact that patenting game mechanics is dumb, this one has the most sense made to it so far.
It's very specific. It is not trying to monopolize a game mechanic. It's not trying to monopolize a way to play a thing that is core to playing a game. Like if you're playing a creature capture game, having a capture in a 3D space, having a capture object being thrown in a 3D space is kind of core to that. Yes, could you have a creature capture game where you don't need that? Sure, but like you walk up and you punch them with a ball and they get captured, sure, but it's severely limiting to the genre, to the concept. This isn't really limiting. It's just, it's petty to me. It's super petty. It's really
it's super petty, and I don't agree with it. But of all the ones, and then there's probably going to be more that we don't agree with. This one's on the list of like, I can kind of see it. And do I really care about it?
Problem
no.
with it? Am I angry about it? No. Do I think it's like, come on, man, really? Did you have to patent this? Really? And also has an adjusted expiration. Most of these patents last for 20 years. This one's adjusted expiration is 2 years shy of that, so it's only 18 years. I don't know why. Maybe they were just like, you know what, we're dicks. We're sorry. Next one. The Nemesis system. One of the greatest things to ever be added to a video game. That's not true. But something that is well loved in a video game. And I summed up in the change.org petition as someone really hating your guts. That's quite literally how I summed it up. Warner Brothers patenting complex interpersonal relationships and someone really hating your guts. That's how I summed that up. Because that's and that was a very, facetious kind of way to say it, or a very kind of flippant way to describe it. But essentially, it's the Nemesis system, and you've played, you want to talk about the Nemesis system, Mammoth, because that's the one you said you know.
I know of it. This one pisses me off for a different reason.
Okay.
I wanted to play a Shadow War Shadow Mordor because of the Nemesis system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I despise the game, the way it gets you started and going through. I could never get into it, which is really annoying, because the whole reason I wanted to play it was because of this system, and having people come after you because you've pissed them off, or getting better people to then climb the ranks and all that kind of fun stuff is so fucking cool. Yeah. But I just couldn't get into the game, and I can't enjoy that mechanic because I couldn't get into the game itself. It sucks.
I mean, I actually never played Shadow of Mordor because by the time I was aware of either of them, Shadow of War had already come out. So I played Shadow of War and I fucking loved it. Like, holy shit, I still go back and play it sometimes. It's amazing. I have put so much time into that. The Nemesis system is awesome. The fact that you can, I would intentionally let myself get killed by like an enemy so that they would level up and get special abilities and shit like that. So, because I was trying to get enemies that had like immunity to everything. And then I was going to capture them and make them mine. And then, fucking put them in my forts because I wanted to have a fort, and I have. If as long as like my profile didn't get deleted or something because I haven't played it in a while, I have like almost half a fort's worth of orc leaders that are immune to everything. Because my goal at the time, when people were still actively playing it a lot and online a lot, is I wanted someone to go into my fort and then have to just go through a slog of every single general being immune to every fucking thing and then just getting their shit pushed in. So I spent a lot of time in that because it's a cool system. And there is a level to this that it is specific. There is a level to this that it is kind of specific, but it still like seems to me to be general. I mean, they have all these qualifiers on each one of the claims too. But it's still general enough that it kind of fucks with the idea of that. I think it's a bad move. Is the Nemesis system specific enough
for a patent in order to exist? In my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be a system that is in place that is so refined and doesn't need to be improved in any way, shape, or form, that it's unique enough that you want to use it. If someone else could take that concept, add something to it, take something away, just do something to change it and make it better, would that still break the patent? Because it's the same type of thing. That's the part that I don't quite understand about the whole thing.
So from my understanding, and I might be wrong, this might just be something I got from TV or something. For a patent to be different, it has to be at least like 30% different. So if it would be impossible for you to get a new patent on an idea of something that's like previously existing, it has to be at least 30% different. And that might be different. I might have heard that somewhere. I might have heard that on fucking Suits or something. And that might not be like for every type of patent. There might be different laws related to patenting different types of things. I'm not 100% on that. But to my mind, if there's no way for this idea to be implemented without technically infringing upon this patent, if the patent is so general that there is no way for you to introduce a someone hates your gut system and those people will keep coming back and trying to kill you, and they might get stronger if they beat you. If there's no way to implement that without it infringing upon this patent, because the patent is so general, then the patent should not be allowed. Because that's an idea. That is an idea of someone really hating your guts. You patented the concept of Napoleon getting his ass kicked, being sent into exile, coming back, reforming an army, and fighting you again.
And getting revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You patented that concept. You know, you patented Machiavelli. You patented like a general idea that exists in the world that if you wanted to make a game that's discussed it, that talked about that idea or implemented that idea, if you can't do that without significantly infringing upon this patent, or if the only way to do it without infringing upon this patent is to make it just garbage, that should not be a patentable idea. There's another one I forgot to add. Because there's a patent on the concept of a rock band in a video. Yeah, here you go. Here's another one I didn't even think to look up. I don't know why, because I talked about it in the last video. But no, just finish off the Nemesis system. I don't know patent law well enough, and I don't know game development well enough to know if this is broad enough to make it impossible to implement the system without.
I mean, based on the fact that no other game has released something with a similar kind of concept, I would assume so.
Especially because it's such a beloved concept, you would think if this patent didn't exist, that so many studios, especially AAA studios, would be like, fuck yeah, I'm getting in that. People loved that. So it makes me think that it's broad enough. But again, I'm not a patent law. I'm not on patent law.
It has to be, right? Because one of the biggest selling point for a game, which they cancelled, by the way, the fucking Wonder Woman game, they cancelled.
Was the Nemesis
One
system,
of the biggest selling point for that was the Nemesis system.
Yeah, and here's one thing that makes me think there's a difference between the way Nintendo is doing it and Nintendo is being shady. In the way that they're wording their patents, because all the Nintendo patents were a game system that a game storage device, medium, blah blah blah, basically a bunch of techie words, and then the first pictures were the Switch. So it makes it look like they're patenting something about the Switch, when in reality it's the application. This one, Nemesis characters, Nemesis Force, Social Vendettas, and followers in computer games. That is very specifically letting you know that it is a video game mechanic, and you can Google the words Nemesis system and find the patent. I just wanted to get on there because I 100% think that Nintendo's being shady with the way they name things and the abstract they use.
This one, as much as it pisses me off, and as much as it, again, we're on the same conclusion of patents in video games is fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm.
This one at least has some kind of nuance to it that makes the game genuinely unique.
Yeah.
And it's dumb because other games might be able to do it better, but at the same time, I can see where they're coming from. It sucks and it's shit,
yeah,
but I can see where they come from.
He's British, my condolences to him.
Send help. Send help. Send help.
But yeah, one of the things I would like to see with these mechanic patents is it's like the method of Claim 1, further comprising altering a configuration of a power center associated with a second non-player character based on the power center attribute. That's like real, like that's like what's happening in the 3D space or what's happening there, but it doesn't discuss the code. None of this really discusses the code that makes this work. You know?
I don't think they ever would, though, because a lot of these are built in engines that either are constantly evolving or in languages that are evolving. So they can't necessarily use the code because in 10 years' time, or 5 years' time, probably closer to.
Yeah.
A lot of these languages get new libraries added to them, get slight syntax changes, so they can't really patent it because it's going to change, it's going to evolve. So that, as much as that makes sense, I don't think they can, right?
But I would like to see at least, maybe not the exact code, because again, like the engine's going to evolve, the libraries are going to evolve, they might change a variable name here, a function name here, something like that. I don't want to see like the exact code per se, but more in depth to how the code is making this work, the methods that the code is using to make this work, not what's happening in the game.
Like a pseudocode kind of.
Yeah, but
out.
The way
okay.
the kind of method that the code is using to make it work. Because like here, method of Claim 4, further comprising determining based on at least one of a game event or a user selection to provide data characterizing the faction configured for use in an independently operating game instance to a remote server. Again, this to me seems a little broad because this is determining based on at least one or a game event or a user selection to provide data characterizing the faction configured for use in an independently operating game instance to a remote server. So it's just saying a game event happens or a user selection happens and data it's characterizing the faction is used in an independently operating instance in a remote server. So if you created something that was falling, and now these are all related to Claim 1 here. So it's very specifically how that's interested, but that means that part, to me, how that's reading, and I might be wrong here, again, not a lawyer, is saying that anything that had a Nemesis system that allowed you to use your characters in another person's server, so have a PvP thing going on, that's what that covers. That covers that specific part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, removes, like, okay, if you wanted to have a Nemesis system with multiplayer or with PvP, that's an idea. That's a vague idea. If it was more specifically how that is implemented on a pseudocode level, like you said, I would be more happy with it. I don't know, again, because we haven't seen the Nemesis system since Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War, and the last group that was coming out with the Nemesis system was also Warner Brothers Interactive, who owns this thing. I think it might be broad enough that it's stopping people from creating a similar system, because if it wasn't, there would a AAA studio would have produced something like this by now, or an indie game would have produced something like now because they would want to say it's just like this kind of thing because it's such a love thing.
I don't think AAA care about it as my problem, because a lot of AAA, you've probably noticed nowadays, they're more focused on stuff that is making them money. And because this isn't necessarily something that is transactional enough, it's not worth it for them to go into it to try and make it, because unless they can milk it for some money, they can't.
But you remember when well, you didn't play it enough. When Shadow of War first came out, they had basically loot boxes for commanders and for upgrades and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
okay,
they were milking it. They were milking it for a while, and something I actually respect about them, unless there was some lawsuit or something that forced them to stop. But I think, from my understanding, they did it voluntarily. They were like, oh, people are pouring way too much money into this. We feel bad, and they got rid of those loot boxes. But you used to be able to like pay money to Rat, whatever his fucking name was, to buy. Like, you'd get a chest, and you'd get this level chest, and it would have a general in it, or it'd have these specific upgrades that you can give to a general in it, or blah, blah, blah. So there's ways for them to milk it. They can definitely milk it, especially if they did a Nemesis system with a robust PvP system. Because they could
do it with the battle pass as well, right? And all that kind of bullshit.
I think there would at least be one AAA studio, and definitely indie studios, that would be redoing the Nemesis system because it was so well loved.
Yeah, this one's probably fucking over more indie devs than anything else, though.
Yeah,
a lot.
I think most of these are designed to fuck over indie devs, because I think a lot of them are broad enough that if a AAA studio wanted to, they can make the game and say, "Fuck with me, Nintendo! I swear to God, I will push your shit in legally." Like,
it's that as well as the AAAs have the money to put into someone legal and go, cool, I need you to absolutely dissect every single ounce of this and let me know whether or not we can do this thing.
I mean, they probably all have like in-house lawyers and stuff that are just like, guess what? You're getting paid a salary. What your job today is going over this and either making sure that our thing is different enough to not be 30% or more similar, or do you think this is enforceable, and could we challenge them in court? And if they try to go after us, what we're just going to say is send them a cease and desist letter that says, no, don't fuck with us, and they're not going to do it, because ultimately neither of those two studios want to get into a pissing match over something that one of them knows they probably can't legally enforce. So it's 100%, I think, going after indie studios. I think that's what it is. So let's move on. We spent a lot of time on Nemesis system there. Oh yeah, what I was saying was if you wanted to edit this one just to get more of the ad rev, but like I said, I'm probably going to be just throwing you all of the ad rev I'm getting mostly too for the ones that I edit, but just to give you something that this video might do better because of the algorithm. Yeah. But I can also this is going to be a very short editing process. Oh yeah, here's the system for simulating a Rock Band experience. This, I don't even give a fuck what any of the text of this says. The title alone pisses me off, because rock bands have existed, or bands have existed in rock bands. I mean, Elvis Presley was considered the king of rock. When did rock music start? 1950s. So yeah, rock music has existed since like before modern computing has existed in any fucking way. So this is a patent saying that this thing that has existed, when did this one get granted? 2008. This thing that has existed for 68 years, we're the only ones that can make a video, or 58 years, we're the only ones that can make a video game about this.
So does this, okay, this is specifically, how in depth does this go? Is this just like the notes appearing down the screen and having it associated with a different instrument, or is this specifically like it's a fucking rock band, they have like 4 different things that all look kind of the same going down and they do different things, or is this just like what depth does this one go into?
Here's the abstract. Systems and methods for indicating the performance of a plurality of players playing a video game simulating a rock band experience may include calculating a player's score for each player playing a rhythm action game within a band, each player's score representing the performance level of a particular player, calculating a composite score for the band playing a rhythmic action game, the composite score based in part on a performance level associated with each player within the band, displaying the composite score on a performance meter as a performance level, and displaying player score on the performance meter as a graphical indication position on the meter at a position corresponding to the calculated player score. So reading a bit more, it doesn't seem necessarily saying a rock band. It's stopping the concept of a rock band, but it does kind of make it something you can't implicate. You can't do, because if you want a scoring system, it covers the concept of calculating a player score for a rhythm action game within a band.
So I think these ones are encompass the whole thing. So if you have just one of these elements in a game, that's fine. If you use all of them, that's a problem.
Even then, it's kind of stupid. Let's see here.
It is, but my hot take here is what they are patterning here is Guitar Hero and is Rock Band the game. Like, it's not like the Nemesis system where it's just part of the game. It's not like the combat. Yeah. This entire system that they're patterning is their entire game. This is one of the few ones which, as much as it is quite shit, is fine. To me anyway, because you're not patterning in a concept of just something stupid, small. You are holding the tabs on an identity that is that entire game. Other people can use parts of it, but if you put them all together and make a stew out of it, you can go fuck yourself. It's shit, but I actually, thinking about it, I don't know how that even works, because there are also games like Osu where you have, but you don't have the band behind it, do you? So it's those parts, but also being part of a band, which is just the identity of the game. Other games do the rhythm aspect of it. It's just in the concept of it being within a rock band.
Yeah. Hold on. Here's a rhythm action game may require. I'm reading the background right now. But here's the next one. This is basically the concept of, and I never played the Final Fantasy games. Don't kill me. In Final Fantasy X, they introduced a map leveling system. So they introduced a system where rather than I read about the patent, so I kind of understood it. So I can't find a picture, but you know how like games, a lot of games now, they'll have like a level web where as you level up, here's this web of stuff, and you click on the web to pick like the node on the web to pick what special thing you want to get with that level. You spend your level points or whatever to pick like
Path of Exile.
Sure, I've never played Path of Exile, but yeah, kind of. If it's similar to Diablo, then yeah, kind of similar to Diablo.
Just for shits and gigs, look up Path of Exile skill tree right now if you've never seen it.
Yeah, so basically that.
Yeah.
The concept of a skill tree like this, Final Fantasy patented, and I don't know how I feel because it patented in 2001, so it was a new idea.
I mean, fair, but clearly it hasn't worked because Path of Exile did that, and that came out, well, at the very least, like 2012, based on that screenshot. And it's
let's
still...
see when it expired. Let's see. It expired in 2021.
Yeah, so Path of Exile came out in 2000, was at least in beta in 2012. The second one's recent, but that one came out ages ago.
So let's see.
So again, this must have some nuances into it that meant it was associated with Final Fantasy, right? Has to. Otherwise, Path of Exile wouldn't exist.
Current to first points that have been acquired during progress of a game, and first points are decreased in accordance with the accepted marker. The movement destination, map point, and map points adjacent to it are employed during processing subject map points. A category of each processing subject map point is recognized and is judged whether second points corresponding to the recognized category is greater than or equal to prescribed value. Do you have enough points? A capability corresponding to a desired map point is set in accordance with the judgment result. The weird thing about all these is they would be so much easier for me to read and understand if they are written in code. If they were written in script, I would understand if it was if-then
100%
values
agree.
greater than equal to less than, but like I'd be like, oh, this makes so much fucking sense, because that's what I'm doing when I'm reading some of these is like, okay, what would that look like if it were code? And I'm not even a good coder. Like I have the class. I've taken the classes and I've done some coding, but it makes more sense to me.
Better than English.
So, yeah. Well, because it's like it's not legalese. It's definitive values. If then this.
It's logic.
The present invention has been made in view of the above problems, and the art and an object of the invention is therefore to provide a computer-readable recording medium on which a program of a video game in which a capability of a character can be set and checked simply and easily, and a setting content can be selected with a high degree of freedom and which can give the player more enjoyment is recorded, a program of such a video game and a related video game processing method apparatus. To obtain the above object by solving the above problems, a first aspect of the invention provides a computer-readable recording medium on which a program of a video game in which a character capability can be set is recorded. The program causes a computer to display, in response to the manipulation of a player, a map in which map points for giving a basic capability to a character and a map points for giving a special capability to a character are arranged on prescribed routes. The computer has also determines a movable range of a marker based on first points that have been acquired during progress of the video game immediately before transition to the displaying, and determines a mark position on the map at the time of a preceding setting. So basically tells you what you can unlock. The computer further accepts a marker movement instruction that is given by manipulation of the player and commands the movement of the marker to destination marker position in the movable range that has been determined. The computer also causes updating from the marker position at the time of the preceding setting to the destination marker position that has been accepted, and consumes at least part of the first points using points. So, do you have enough points? It takes 3 points. You have 2. You can't do it. It takes 2 points. You have 3. It uses the amount that it takes. Kind of. Yeah, but because if you level up 3 times without ever entering the web, then you have 3 points and it's only going to use 1. Map points for giving a basic capability to a character and map points for giving a special capability to a character are arranged on a setting map, which makes it possible to set character capabilities in a more complex manner. Therefore, a recording medium capable of giving the player more enjoyment can be provided. And the recording, a lot of these summaries, like, use, because I've read a few of them at this point, use words like for to make people happy and to make players more happy and to incentivize them to have a good time, and we love our players so much, and if we could create a code that allows our players to get their dick sucked, we would. Like, they're all written in this very, like, we want our players, and I don't want that. I
was having the exact same thought, and my logic went, oh yeah, that's how PoE got away with it, because they learned that the players went, fuck you, we want to make a really complex skill tree that you can go through and go cry to yourself to sleep about. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, that probably would do it.
Yeah, because
literally, it's all enjoyment, and they just go, says, that's not for enjoyment, it's for cock and ball torture. Go fuck yourself.
That's, no, I love that too, because, like, one of the things I thought about, I didn't bring it up with the Pokemon one, is one of the part of the text reads to incentivize players to trade. I was like, okay, well, like, if there's like Ark Survival Evolved, I could give you a pal or a monster. I keep saying pal. I give you a dinosaur that has negative traits, and that's not very incentivizing, or something like. Maybe it's just a bunch of fuck yous. Because like in Ark Survival Evolved,
to piss off your friend.
Yeah, in Ark Survival Evolved, if they come out of a cryo chamber, they have like cryo sickness or something. So it's not really incentivizing. Like, it's like that's their excuse for why that's different, is because Ark just says fuck you. If you trade this, you're gonna have about 24 to 48 hours of this thing sucking, and you got to keep it alive until it stops sucking. And there's gonna be some fucking troll that comes in hacking that kills your thing. So it's not very incentivizing. Okay, the recording medium, according to the first act, as you mentioned, may be such that the video game can set capabilities of a group of characters individually, and that map is divided in accordance with the number of settable characters, more of our markers. Okay, so here's again the thing. A lot of this is just we understand it well enough. It's a map, and it's a map that allows you to pick individual nodes. So like Diablo has that. A lot that Diablo's my first go-to. The talent system in WoW has that. There's a lot of games that have that. And then like this it also talks about allowing individual characters to have individual abilities, because in Final Fantasy you control like however many characters. I've never played it, but I understand it well enough. And it comes down to, again, kind of what you said earlier. Do you have to infringe upon the entire patent? Or if you infringe upon one claim? Because there's several different claims here. There's 1 claim, 2 claim, 3 claim, 4... There's 4 different things, 4 different claims that are being patented within... put it in Animal Companions. Safety. There's 4 different things that they are claiming. If you infringe upon one of those, have you committed patent infringement? Are you liable for lawsuit? If you infringed upon, or is it only if you infringe upon all of them? Or if it's only you infringe upon a certain percentage of them? And from what we've found, there's no real answer to that.
There's no answer, but we know for a fact that it cannot be just 1 or 2 parts of it. It has to be more.
It has to be,
because otherwise there's so many games that just wouldn't exist.
Or is it just a matter of they don't want the lawsuit? It's not worth it for...
If they don't want the lawsuit, what's the point in the patent?
So that they can bully other studios. They can bully smaller studios. Or just so that they can say they have it, so if at some point they want to have the lawsuit. Just for this general level of gathering, we own these patents, so technically we could. And that way, if another studio comes out with the same thing, they can't patent it and then say, no, you can't, kind of thing.
Yeah, but for example, this one, for example, if that was the case, would be fucking pointless. Because if they turn and say fucking Bethesda come out around the corner and they have this type of thing in the new Elder Scrolls, right?
Yeah.
And then they come around and say, well, we're going to go after you for that. Bethesda's just going to turn around and say, well, what about PoE? Well, what about this game? What about that game? Why are you coming after us when there's all these other games that do the same thing? That seems a bit... What's the point?
Well,
they can use that as ammunition, though, right?
You saw the same rhetoric, though, with the Nintendo stuff against Palworld, because a lot of the stuff they said was like, well, this other small game did this too, and this other small game did this too, and this other small game did this too. You only came after Pocket Pair because they're successful, because they're competition.
Yeah, and that was why a lot of them were rejected. A lot of the things were...
But they still haven't
didn't get what they want.
I mean, they have quite a few of them. They didn't have all 23, but between, like, in Japan, they have a lot more of them because Japan's copyright system appears to be more loose. Their patent system appears to be more loose.
This is super strict as far as I'm aware.
Their copyright system is super strict. Their patent system seems to be more loose. Yeah,
I don't know.
Their copyright system is if you have a character, if you're an Italian man that's name is Mario in Japan, straight to jail, straight to fucking jail. Like, if Luigi, believe it or not, straight to jail. Like their copyright system's fucking insane. But their patent system, like and this is just from people commenting on my shit, apparently is a lot looser, where it's more of a first come first serve kind of thing. Like whoever applies for it first gets it. But I'm not a lawyer, and I'm definitely not a Japanese lawyer. So like to me, it feels like some of this is, we came up with this new idea that's not been done in a game before, and it might be general, it might be vague, but we're going to patent it because we can. Because the law is allowing us to. And we're not going to use this against bigger studios because, again, they might be able to get that 30% difference or that 40% difference or whatever that level of difference they need is. And at the very least, it's going to be a lawsuit. But if any like newcomer that doesn't have the money to file that lawsuit comes in, we can push their shit in. And we just own the patent for the sake of owning the patent. Because, I mean, it's... When we were discussing in the lab I worked in filing a patent, it cost like $6,000. That's how much money we needed to make sure was included in the grant to get a patent. It was like $6,000 to $8,000 or something like that. So the filing of the patent's not hard. They have in-house counsel. They have in-house lawyers for the most part. So they have... It's not cost prohibitive for them to do this. That's my thought. I might be entirely wrong here. I might be very wrong. Also, I wrote Scottish as Scottish. There. And I'm not sure. I'm not, like... Again, I kind of want to get a patent lawyer in, or, like... I mean, my one buddy's a lawyer, but he's criminal defense. someone who understands patent law really well to explain how much of this would need to be infringed upon for there to be a suit. Because my understanding and my thinking is it's just a percentage of this. If a percentage of this is infringed upon, they have a suit. You know?
I don't think it's percentage based, but again, we could speculate for fucking ever of what it actually is.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
We don't know. Moving on. I think the concept of patenting video game mechanics is stupid.
Yeah.
Which one is this one? Oh yeah, this is the Tekken. The concept of training mode in Tekken. Tekken introduced a training mode that would allow you could pop up a move that you wanted to do, and it would pop up on screen the like button combinations you'd have to do in order to do that move. So it was a way that you could train how to get those movements down right to do whatever move it is. Similar to like in Mortal Kombat,
Cool.
like if you want to do a fatality or whatever.
Cool. Before we even get into this patent, Mortal Kombat has done that.
When did this patent expire? This expired in
is it expired?
2020.
Mortal Kombat X 20. When did that come out? Mortal Kombat X 2015.
Okay, so again, now I am because I would feel like Tekken would want. Hey, welcome back, Triana. The concept of big buff men brawling each other in the street. Oh boy, no, it's not. It's not that. So let's see more specifically. A command list, 14 showing techniques, each of which is executed normally by manipulating buttons of a game controller with a given operation procedures displayed to a player. When a player selects a technique and presses a button B, a key record of that technique is assigned to a game button L. By pressing the button L, the technique of the assigned key can be performed by a game character. The assignment information of key record is stored in a memory card, enabling the assignment to be effective when the game system is powered on next time. Is stored in a memory
That'll
card.
be it.
Yeah, it might be the fact that you can save that.
You can save them, yeah, because these ones that are they're just built in. You just go into the menu and choose which one you want, and it appears. It's not stored on anything other than just the game itself.
Yeah, and this would kind of imply that, like, if you have because it says like Technique 1, Technique 2, Technique 3, or whatever, maybe you can say like, this is my secret go-to move, so I'm plugging my own personal.
Yeah, and that make. I mean, you can still pin them and stuff in the newer games, but because they're more stored to a profile versus just a save card, that's probably the way around it. 'Cause I'm assuming this was like really, this 2004.
Was like, yeah.
Fucking yeah. So that'll be why.
No, this was applied for in 2000.
Yeah.
The first Tekken game was old. I remember Tekken.
That's probably why that one hasn't really stuck and no one's gone for it, because there's terminology in there that isn't really used anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that could explain it. And again, it could come down to the legalese of this. We said at the beginning we weren't really going to discuss the legalese, just the whether or not it's bullshit. And then we got into a lot of the legalese. But whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. I think it's a stupid thing to patent.
This one's dumb.
Yeah. Patented teaching your players how to play a game. Effectively patenting a tutorial.
Patenting saving you time going grabbing a piece of paper and writing the combos down.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's patenting a tutorial, because like theoretically, like if Mortal Kombat came out and had like listen, we don't have training mode, but we have a multi-tiered tutorial that you can get the tutorial for how to play this character, and you can keep doing it and keep doing it. With that, it's basically training mode. I mean, that's what a tutorial is training mode. So they're patenting that. I think it's stupid.
Well, we don't have a training mode. We have a single-player mode where you can fight bots just randomly, and if you wanted to, only available in the single-player mode, you can pin moves to your screen.
Yeah.
You can't do it in multiplayer, but you can only do it in single-player. Would that classify?
Which did you ever like sticky note it?
I never really got into fighting games. I played Mortal Kombat, but I never really got into them.
Loved like Tekken. I loved some fighting games. And I would literally like have sticky notes.
I mean,
that would
I
have
would
moves because I couldn't remember shit.
I would do stuff like that for FPS games. I would have call outs and stuff. Like,
yeah.
on like say Counter-Strike, I downloaded a mod, not a mod. I changed the PNG for the minimap, which had the callouts and stuff on it, so I knew where to call certain places when I was first learning it. So yeah, it's the same kind of thing, but
yeah. So like I don't know if Mortal Kombat got away with it because digital versus analog, effectively almost, or memory storage device versus cloud-based storage, or what. I still think as a concept. So we don't keep talking about the legalese, but let's just dial back to only talking about, is it a stupid thing to fucking patent?
Yes.
Next. Next. I hate every fucking video game mechanic they do has this verbiage in there. And look, some of the first images are, look, this is the Switch. See, we made the Switch. We have that patent, so you have to give us the fucking patent.
What's that first picture? Because that might give me a better idea of what the fuck this thing
I
even
don't
says.
fucking know. Well, hold on. Let's go to one of the not.
Oh,
first
it's
pictures.
the fucking Zelda mechanic of enemies dropping the weapons that they have and that kind of shit.
Is that what it is? I never played Zelda. Don't kill me. I did not have a Nintendo
only
system
played them a
until my
little
girlfriend
bit.
brought me a Switch.
There is one. This actually might be a slightly different one. No, okay. If that's the pattern I'm thinking of, I'm actually, and I sue me, I'm okay with this. I'm actually okay with this. So Zelda in the latest one, what is it, Tears of the Kingdom? They have a mechanic where you can pick up items off the floor. You can pick up a sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put it on the floor. You can grab an apple, you can put it on the floor, and you can link the sword to the apple, and it will do something to the sword to give it that unique thing, and it'll just tether them together. It's unique enough in that it has to be done in that certain way.
What's the
also
zombie game? Zombie game in a mall. I can't remember what it was called. Dead Rising. Didn't one of the Dead Rising games have something like that?
Yes, but they do it differently. You have to go specifically to a crafting bench and then merge it, and you get a new item which is completely different. The way Nintendo does it is it's the same two items attached to each other, and it might be like, what was one of them? Like you can put a fucking a torch on a sword, and all the thing it'll do is make it do fire damage. Or you can put like a bomb on the end of a spear, and it'll explode once when you swipe and hit something with it, and it'll go back to normal. It's its own thing, and I think Nintendo's, the way they write their patterns can go fuck themselves, because trying to dislodge them is insane. But it is genuinely something that's unique for the first time in Nintendo's life. It is something that is genuinely quite cool and was really, really, really fun to mess around with. And I think it's so precise that if other games want to do it similar, they can. This one, the TLDR is, again, that the fucking patents suck, but they exist, so what we're going to do about it, this one's fine. Because if another dev wants to make something similar, they can very, very easily by just adding their own twist to it.
I will give you that this is something new that Nintendo created, so good on you. Good job. Good job. You patented something that you did. I'm pretty sure I've seen like VR games that have had similar concepts, but like that's not, I don't know.
What's it called? It's a specific thing that the way that, because in Zelda you can pick weapons up using its weird fucking.
And this one's still pending. This one hasn't even been granted yet.
I think this one probably will go through, and it will not make a damn change to the gaming industry. It'll not make the slightest change.
And again, that's how it was. If it's possible to implement the idea without infringing upon the patent, then like I'm kind of okay with it. So if it was an idea of, if they, because that almost sounds like enchanting weapons, almost like temporary enchantments.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, if they went for like, we're gonna patent the idea of enchanting weapons, go fuck yourself. But if they're patenting like, hey, we have this really cool, unique system that we created that allows you to like just patchwork shit together, and like it has effects. That's kind of cool. And as long as it's not so broad as no other game can ever make a thing where you can add attachments to weapons, because like Dead Rising had that. As long as it's yeah.
Obviously, I haven't read the full thing. I'm honestly, I'm never going to. But if it's just written out the way that it's done in Zelda, it's not going to affect anything else.
Yeah, I don't even know what this is saying, so I'm going entirely based off of what you're talking about. And like I can see that. I can if it's that specific, then I can give them sure. You're not entirely assholes, Nintendo. There's still a level of like if you're patenting a game mechanic, you're afraid. To me, you're afraid that someone's going to do it better. But I don't even understand this one. So like I'm going to base I'll defer to you.
Cool. This one's okay. Like I said, the world will not change. The gaming world will not change if this goes through.
Oh, you know what this one is? Video game with spiral loop graphics. Do you want to have a guess about what this is about?
Video game with what? Sorry, I was looking at Zelda things. Read that again.
Spiral
Video game
loop
with
graphics.
spiral loop graphics.
Do you want to guess what this is about? I'll give you a hint. It's applied for by Sega.
Yeah, like I can read that. I don't even know what game.
Sonic. The fact that when you go on the spiral loops, your character changes its position in relation to where it is on the loop. So you'll have Sonic be upside down sometimes.
Oh, so
that's what this one's about.
Can't exist?
What? Yeah,
So
roller coaster games can go fuck themselves.
Oh, clearly they can.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, this is the TLDR of all this time, is that these patents just don't do anything.
But they don't enforce them, and I think a lot of it's them not enforcing them because they know that they won't stand up to legal scrutiny a lot of times, because if you put this in front of a jury, and said, yeah, well, any game that allows you to, have a character be upside down when he's on a loop that is upside down, and the jury is just gonna be like, fuck you, man. Are you serious? So I think a lot of this is it's just like we just want to stop people from getting to the jury if they don't have the money to get to that point. I think that's what this is.
I think I've come to the conclusion so far that if your patent is patenting an entire game like Guitar Hero, like Rock Band, I'm okay with it because that's their game and you have to break the whole thing. If you're patenting specifically mechanics, you can go fuck yourself. I think that's the term I'm coming to. Even though the Zelda one is fine, the industry is not going to change. They can go fuck themselves because they're doing a mechanic, and it's only part of the game. It's not the whole thing.
Yeah. Back from writing my patent for Big Buff Men Story Time, what did I miss? Yeah, you're going to struggle with that one. But, no, it's that. If it's, and again, I don't think, if it's the entire game, it would be more like a copyright or a trademark thing. I think patenting a game mechanic is just weak and stops innovation and says, fuck you to anyone who wants to try to, like, it's saying that you're afraid that someone's going to do it better than you. And, like, one of the bases of a free market is you either have to do it better or do it cheaper. You either have to make a product that is better so people want to buy it over your competitor, or make it so that it's cheaper so that it's more cost-effective to buy it over the competitor. And what these sort of video game mechanics are doing is saying, I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want to have to worry about having competition. And like these video games aren't a necessity. It's not a human right to play video games, but it's still weak. It's just fucking weak. It's pathetic.
It's just so strange.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a weird concept.
Here's an interesting one that you're also going to be like, what the fuck? Microsoft
game achievement system?
Microsoft patented game achievements in 2004. They pried for it with the Xbox.
Oh, yeah, but the way that people got around it is by calling it something different. Trophies.
Yeah. Well, even this. Each game achievement may be conveyed in a profile as a badge, a trophy, title. When I was actually researching this one of the like kind of conspiracy theories is that companies don't have to disclose who they license their patents to. So maybe like Steam and Sony and whatnot just have the license to the patent. Like they just got Microsoft to license it to them.
Well, that's another thing. We don't know what people have actually paid for. So all the things that we said, well, they can't exist because of it. They might have bought the patent. They might have paid the money. Don't know.
We don't see it in indie games because they can't afford it. Yeah. We don't see it in indie games because they can't afford it, but we see it in like AAA games because they're like, it's worth it for me to pay $100,000 for this And it might be a level of like, hey, you either license this to me for a fair value, or I take you to court and we have your patent removed because it's bullshit.
Because I guarantee the price is going to be depending on who's coming for you, right?
Yeah.
Like if an indie company comes to you and says, "Oh, I want to use this patent," they might turn and go, "Cool, you can have it for a $5."
Yeah.
Obviously not exactly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like if Microsoft went and Nintendo says, "I want this," they're going to go, "Cool, give us $1 billion."
Yeah.
Like that's how it's going to be, because they're not going to just have a price tag on it as if it's in a shop.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do it that way, and that's the worst way to do it, because no one knows whether or not they're going to get fucked in the ass or not.
And they could probably do it like, listen, yeah, you could use this license, you could use this mechanic, but we want a percentage of your profits.
Yeah.
So that's
Which
yeah,
is
that's another thing I
probably
didn't
why
even
the
think of.
Nemesis system hasn't gone.
Yeah, because they know it's too valuable. They know
Yeah.
that a game that has a Nemesis system is gonna do well because of the Nemesis system, and they want to hold on to that.
A part of it as well could just be like along the lines of why people are doing it is because they don't want other people to take that and do it better than them.
Yeah,
and
they're
make
afraid.
them look
That's what I'm saying.
shit.
That's what I said.
It's just
They are afraid. Video game. Hold on. Mechanics for video game patents are 100% based on fear from the developers. It's based on the studio that is making the game that has that mechanic and is patenting that mechanic being afraid that someone else is going to take it and do it better, and now they're not going to be special anymore, and they're not going to be as competitive anymore. So they patent an idea. They patent a fucking idea because they're afraid that they don't have what it takes to do well. They know they're phonies. They know that the video game industry is being run by money men and not creatives anymore. And they are afraid that there's going to be someone who's creative and is going to do it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So dumb. So dumb.
Really, really dumb. Which one's this one? Oh, this is Katamari Damacy. This is a patent for the ball in Katamari Damacy. Items sticking to a ball, you roll the ball around, and you collect more items. And
Again, I think I'm okay with this one because, like I said about the Guitar Hero thing, that is the game.
Yeah, it's... I don't like.
It's the game.
My one with the Guitar Hero Rock Band thing is like, I don't know how I feel about it because it's like this is just the game, and it depends. Like if they started like enforcing it in a way that was like really like, oh, you can't have cars now because technically it's objects gathering onto stuff. If you have a truck loader simulator and you're loading items onto a truck, you can go suck our dicks because we want all your money now. That would be bullshit. And who gives a fuck? Is it petty?
Yeah.
Yes. Is this hurting the game industry? Not really, because if you were making this game, what you're just doing is remaking Katamari Damacy, and you're the thief. This isn't such a broad idea that this stops other games from being made. This just stops someone from remaking Katamari Damacy. And if you're doing that, go fuck yourself, man. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a hot take here because there's that whole issue with the FNAF copyright thing. You hear about that?
If you were speaking to my partner, she'd probably know way more about it than I do. I know it exists. That's about it.
So
was it the fan game kind of
no,
bullshit?
no,
I think it was.
because Scott Cawthon doesn't give a shit. Because he truly does not
Yeah.
care if you make fan games.
Yeah.
Hold on. There was I'll see if I can find it. There was effectively
someone tried to sue him, right?
Yeah, someone tried to sue him, and now it's going to be Game Theory did a video on it. But effectively, like I'm not going to find it right now because it's going to be a pain in the ass to find it. I'm not going to pop on a Game Theory video to show you it. But effectively, what it was someone wanted to sue him, and I don't know how far it went, because Scott Cawthon's team, when making one of the new Five Nights at Freddy's game, accidentally used fan art instead of his art. Because the fan art was so fucking similar to his art that his team could not tell the difference. But there was enough small differences that the artist who did the fan art, that was just a tracing with some changes done to it, was able to say, no, this is mine. I posted it here at this time. How dare you steal my art? Bro, you fucking stole it first. You stole the art, changed the coloration and the fucking buttons around a little bit. You did not create something unique. You had nothing of value to add, and you just slightly changed stuff in a way that if you publish that, he could have fucking sued you, and now you're like, how fucking dare? His team couldn't tell the difference. It goes on the same line as the AI art video I did of like AI. You are just stealing art and modifying it slightly, and then repurposing and saying, I made this. Fuck you. So yeah, that's what I thought on the Katamari Damacy thing. Like, if anyone that was going to be doing this would just be remaking Katamari Damacy, and if they want to file a fucking lawsuit, but I can't fucking do this. You literally had no creative ideas, and you just wanted to remake Katamari Damacy, and you can eat a dick. So like, I'm kind of okay with this one. Pac-Man versus. This one is, I'm not going through all this detail anymore because we were getting way too into legalese when I was doing that. And we said from the start we weren't going to do that, and here we are. Oops. Yeah, it is what it is. Katamari Damacy, or the Pac-Man versus. The Pac-Man versus was basically, it was a thing that Nintendo made where you can play Pac-Man, and like one person has one screen that they are Pac-Man and they can see the entire map, and 3 to 4 other players are the ghosts and they can only see the map immediately near them, and they're trying to find Pac-Man. But okay. the way the patent seems to be written is it's the concept of a multiplayer game where one player has one map and one player and the other player is the predator. I think they said predator prey in one of the, or maybe I might be thinking about a different patent that said predator prey.
There must be something specific in this because I guarantee fucking Among Us didn't pay the patent for that.
Did it expire? Yeah, I mean, and this one's less specific than a lot of the other patents because a lot of the other patents had like, here's claim 1 and here's the 10 subsets of claim 1. Here's claim. This one doesn't have that. Game screen in which to display characters which are operated within a game space reflected by the operations section of the handheld type game apparatus and plurality of. I mean, okay, this is also for handhelds. But okay, so no, it means by this it means okay.
It's for an arcade. It's an
no.
Specifically like
it's for it's for GameCube where someone could plug in their like Game Boy into the GameCube and the other 3 people are using a controller.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I'm kind of okay with that. I'm okay with it.
To me, that's more technology than game, though, right? That's not game mechanic. That's more technology.
Yeah, and you know what? This is, well, it goes into like how the game works. But like, I'm kind of okay with this because this is kind of a unique thing to do.
Yeah, but this one again, it's not like a lot of the times when you see games do patents, it's because they want that for that specific game. Like you see Pokemon do theirs, or Nintendo do it with Pokemon games because they want those specific things for Pokemon specifically. This is a patent that can be used on other games freely and very easily because it's just basically having a second screen. Sorry.
Yeah, this is effectively plugging your mobile game in, your mobile console into a non-mobile console and being able to play with people that are using the non-mobile console kind of thing, which I'm kind of okay with this being a unique patent. This is a unique implementation of
yeah, this one's cool.
Yeah, I'm good. Nintendo, good job. You got one.
Is this Nintendo?
Yeah, it was Nintendo.
Bandai.
Because this is Bandai. I switched. It was Nintendo. Yeah, applied for by Nintendo, because this is Pac-Man versus, and this was much later. So it was, again, and because it was using the console, it was using the mobile console versus.
Gotcha. It wasn't okay.
Yeah. Multiplayer game mode with Predator feature. Which one is this one? During multiplayer computer game, players are either identified as a predator or as prey, Among Us. The predator players attempt to catch the prey, and the prey players attempt to evade the predators. When a prey is caught, oh yeah, this is tag. This is car tag. I remember what this one is.
What was this? What game was this for?
I don't remember. I think it was just some small game.
A Need for Speed?
No.
Or like a driver?
If I remember what it was, hold on. Let me see if I can. Fuck.
It had Halo written on the text. I saw that. Oh no! It's the fucking infected game mode from Halo.
No, it's not that. This is basically a car game. I'll have to find it later and I'll link it. Oh wait, here I might have it. Give me a second.
Okay.
let me see, what was it? Which one was it? Because I have a list of different. Like I was going through thousands of websites. Well, not that's a fucking lie. It wasn't thousands of websites. I went through like a dozen websites to find different video game patents. Which one is this one? Do. Midtown Madness 3. I don't even know what the fucking game is. But effectively, what it was this was you were a cop or you were not a cop, and if the cop caught you, you became a cop and you had to catch everyone else. The reason I disagree with this, and during gameplay, predator players' display screens may display a directional arrow indicating the direction of the closest prey, and may also display a map indicating the position of each remaining prey. Predators may be displayed on each participant's displaying with a, and it says may. The game ends when no prey remain, and the last caught prey is the winner. The reason I think this one is stupid and should not be allowed is this is tag. I don't know if you ever played the version of tag, because there's a few different ways to play tag when you're a kid, in case you didn't know. You can have tag where you all go to prison, and then if someone gets to the prison, they have to release you. But there's also like capture tag, where when you tag someone, they become a tagger, and it's all about being the last person to not be tagged. And that's all this game is. That game's existed since like ever.
Yeah.
So this is just
we had
patenting that.
We had a game over here called Stuck in the Mud, where if you tagged, you just had to stand still until someone else came over
Freeze
and
tag.
got you out.
We called it freeze tag.
Yeah.
So it was you. I love freeze tag was my preferred version of tag because it allowed more like tactics and strategy. Because you'd have people that were like, okay, I can be the one that goes and freeze people. So I'm just hiding and waiting for someone to get tagged, and then they're gonna childhood, man. Having a childhood is great. But this is that's freeze tag. This was like capture tag, or was capture tag the one where you went to prison? Hold on, I'm getting a call. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Don't know what the fuck that was. But this is essentially patenting the version of tag that you become. I can't remember what it might have called, but you become a tagger when you get tagged, which is a game that's existed for children for decades, and they're patenting that. I disagree with this on that concept of it's patenting a general idea.
Yeah, no, that was dumb.
It's patenting the general idea of now the taggee has become the now the hunted has become the hunter. That's what it's patenting. Fuck you. Fuck you, Microsoft. What's this one? This is another Nintendo one. I wasn't. Oh yeah, this one seems to be from. I remember it. In a video game graphic. In a video graphics game apparatus. And notice how this one was filed in 2003 and actually has a fucking name? It's very big. It just says targeting system. The taggee has become the tagged. Yeah. In a video graphics game apparatus, a game operation controller device is used to select at least one of the plurality of items which are accessible by a player, object, user, throwable item. A target object specifier is used to specify an object existing in a direction in which a throwable item is to be thrown. The effectiveness of the throwable item on the target. So the first thing is throwable items. The second thing is crosshairs. The effectiveness of the throwable item on the target object is determined based on which stored item, object corresponding information defining which throwable item is effective on which object on an item-by-item basis. Weaknesses. Weaknesses and resistances. A game display controller provides an aiming point on the display, indicating a direction in which the throwable item is to be thrown. Crosshair, the aiming point being displayed in a manner or mode that is varied depending upon a result of the correspondence determination. Throwing an object, and that object having an effect that could be changed based on weaknesses or resistances. This was filed in 2003. It's about to expire at the end of this year. Because it was granted in 2004, but they had a slight extension. I'm not sure why. I don't know what this is even specifically referencing, but it's, yeah, throwing an object. Throwing an object and that object having an effect.
What?
Yeah. I don't...
So grenades can't exist in video games?
Apparently not. Because grenades have extra effect on unarmored and squishies. No grenades. No grenades for you. Nintendo invented grenades. You want to throw a baseball bat at someone's face? That's also... Nintendo owns it. Fuck you. A javelin? Nintendo invented the javelin. Go fuck yourself, Nintendo. You had a good one. You had a good one, and then you fucked up.
Nope. Again, because it's not the entire game. It is a system. It can go fuck itself and get in the bin.
Yep. Get in the bin.
What the fuck is this one?
This one's old as shit, but I felt like I'd include it. Monopoly.
Fucking 1904.
Yeah, Monopoly. They patented Monopoly in 1904. They patented a board game. They patented board games in 1904, but specifically, I think this one has verbiage. Oh my god, the wording is so different. This one had verbiage about real estate and shit like that. Like, so you can't, in 1904 until 1921, you were not allowed to make a board game that allowed you to have the goal to obtain as much wealth or money as possible through real estate endeavors.
This one is so much nicer to read than the modern one.
It kind of is.
You can read it and you just go, oh yeah, that's Monopoly. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, this makes sense. A poorhouse. They don't have prison. They had the poorhouse. That probably got, people probably start getting offended by that. If a player stops upon the legacy, he gets $100 cash and a legacy ticket. That's free parking. Franchises, these spaces, preferably yellow, indicate light franchise and water franchise and are public necessities. Yeah, so no, they just patented Monopoly. I don't even feel any particular way about that. like I don't. Sure, it's long since expired. I'm gonna make so many Monopoly games. Fuck you. Oh yeah, this is Crazy Taxi. This is one of the stupid ones. Part of this patent is this is for Crazy Taxi. Part of this patent is a zone of danger that will cause people to not want to get hit by a car and get out of the way.
So you're not allowed to let civilians get out of the way of the fucking car.
Yep. And this one has some of my favorite of that like flowy, fluffy verbiage that they used. A game display method displays a driving game which permits characters to be present in a city and can prevent cruel images of collisions with characters. You gotta give it to them because they don't want you to see those cruel images of collisions with characters. What is the patent? Not wanting to get hit by a car. Also included in this one is directional arrows telling you where to drive. But also not getting hit by a car. So they patented the idea of not wanting to get... Listen, have you ever almost got hit by a car and jumped out of the way?
Oh, yeah.
Did you do it before 2018?
Yeah.
I'm going to sue the shit out of you on their behalf. Sega's fucking coming to you. I'm sending this straight to them. I'm sending this straight to Sega. They are going to sue your ass, motherfucker. How fucking dare you not get hit by a car?
It was nice knowing you.
Did you feel like you were in danger before it happened? Before you almost got hit? Oh, you piece of shit. You fucking patent infringement piece of shit. I'm telling your job. You're not going to be a lawyer anymore. Anyways. This is... Oh, yeah, that's that one. Which one was this one? In a program code relating to the main game, the size of the game program code is small compared to the size of the main program. Oh, yeah! This is loading screen minigames. And you know what? This one's one I'm 100% okay with. This is the patent for loading screen minigames. It expired in 2015. And this was, yeah, you weren't allowed to have a loading screen minigame in your games. And you know what? That's the unique thing that they came up with, and I'm 100% cool with that. It doesn't affect the games industry. It doesn't stop other people from making games. It just says, hey, we have this cool way of passing the time during loading screens, which back in the day could be excessively long. Here you go.
I'm okay with that.
This is the last one, and I'm okay with this.
I would also be okay if someone. I wouldn't be surprised if they did at one point patented like the loading screens that give you tooltips and stuff and cycle
That
through
would be
them, because
a dick move.
it would suck, but
But
it's
like,
fine.
yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think you could because so many games have that. But if they did
Oh, yeah,
have
you
that at
couldn't
one
now.
point, if they had like a tooltip loading screen patent thing, I'd be like, you're a little piece of shit. But yeah, it doesn't affect the. It doesn't. It's a unique thing. It's an idea you came up with. It doesn't really exist in prior art, and it doesn't affect the ability to make a game. They got some cool.
Yeah.
So this one, we ended on a good note. We ended on Namco patenting something that I'm actually okay with: the loading screen minigames. Does it suck that until 2015 you didn't get loading screen minigames? Yes, because I enjoyed those. But that's a strong note to end on. So with that, we've been doing this for 2 hours. We'd probably be doing it for a lot less with less legalese, but we're both bad. We did not follow that one rule. To be fair, I think I was muted in Discord when I explained that.
You were, but I was listening to you on stream.
Okay, good. So you heard that. So we're both bad. It's not my fault. You're bad too, and you're my lawyer, so it's on you. But with that, yeah. So if you've made it this far, I have a change.org petition. It is stop the abuse of misuse of patent law by video game developers. The overall goal, and I'm going to be updating the issue part of it more and more as time goes on, but the overall goal of it is just to make it so that no longer can video game developers patent game mechanics that are general ideas that would prevent a game from being created within a genre because the mechanic is so broad or the mechanics is so all encompassing that now you can't make a game. And I'm going to be activating membership soon. And until we reach a point where I can be paying Mammoth full time to be an editor, and past that point, the first however much, let's say it's $3,000, the first $3,000 of memberships and combined ad rev is going to go straight to Mammoth to help him hopefully get to a point where I can hire him on as a full-time editor so that I can produce more content and he could do this full-time because he's said repeatedly this is kind of what he wants to do, editing. You'd probably get pretty exhausted if you're a part of my rants all the time. But yeah. So I'm going to be activating membership soon, probably by the time I've posted this video. Activating memberships. Where can they see you? Where can they find you, Mammoth?
Nowhere. I literally have no social media.
You literally have social media. I include it in every single fucking video.
I don't use it though.
Well, then why am I doing that?
I
felt really bad because I forgot to one time, and I woke up like I was laying in bed trying to sleep. I just fucking put one of the visuals scheduled to go, and I was like, oh shit, and I got up and went added your fucking edited by Mammoth bullshit, and now I find out that you don't even give a fuck.
Not really. I will eventually when I actually start deciding to do that kind of shit, but rather no, I don't care.
Fuck you.
If I decide to it, fucking put it in the description, I'll send you it, but until then, I don't care.
Fuck you. Anyways, I hate you. I hate you so much. Anyways, yeah, so sign the change.org petition. That will be in the description. And if you want to sign up for memberships, YouTube memberships soon. So if you're watching this, I'm going to start YouTube memberships. And right now, Mammoth is working on ad rev. And I don't get a lot of ad rev because I don't get a lot of views. And I'd like to be able to pay him more, and I'm going to try to throw more and more money his way because I'm also going to take some of my ad rev. Basically, most of my ad rev. Like, here you go, because I don't fucking need it right now. I'm in a decent situation because you deserve it because you put in a lot of fucking work. But Mammoth works on ad rev. I'm going to start YouTube membership soon, and basically until I can completely subsidize Mammoth's current income and hire him on as a full-time editor based on like the combination of ad rev and memberships, all of the memberships. All the money coming from the memberships is going to go to Mammoth. And then if I eventually get an extra editor that I want to hire as full-time, it's going to go to them. So I'm going to start YouTube membership soon. My ideas right now are some of the rants that I go, because listen, Staley calls me the rant god. I go on so many rants on stream. Some of them aren't really ones that hit a YouTube algorithm. So when picking the time, picking what to post and whatnot, it's not really worth posting those because it's not hitting anything in the YouTube algorithm, even if it's a good rant. So I'm going to put those as membership specific. The like let's play videos getting uploaded a day earlier or earlier without like censorship as a membership specific, and then like the storytelling videos without censorship as a specific, and then I might do special content that's member specific, but mostly it's going to be like those two things, and then the rants that are like, this doesn't really hit the YouTube algorithm, so I'm going to put it as a members only thing because the algorithm doesn't care about that. So you'll get extra content, and you'll get content earlier, and you'll be helping me pay Mammoth to do more editing so we can put out more stuff. This can become hopefully a full-time thing for him, which is something we've discussed. I can start working on other projects that I want to work on and produce even more content because I won't have to do the editing myself for some of the stuff. So there you go. That's my little plug for memberships that I'm going to start soon.